Welcome everyone to another episode of Indie Hangout. I am Pneumatics. You may know me over on YouTube or on Twitch. I'm also joined by my amazing co-host and a guest as well that we'll introduce right after Maz. So we have Kronos and Maz. What's up, guys?
How's it going, everybody? Kronos here. You can find me on YouTube and Twitch at OSOK space Kronos.
What's going on, guys? Maz with Maztech Gaming. Maztech Gaming over on YouTube. Maztech_gaming over on Twitch. And like you mentioned, we got a really special guest today. Really exciting stuff. This guest is another content creator, streamer over on Twitch. Does some content over on YouTube as well. Really actual close personal friend of mine. I've been doing this on YouTube and Twitch since 2017, 2018. One of the first people that I met. He's really worked very hard to build his community and has actually really gained some momentum over the years playing games like Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. I'm talking about Dimattic. Welcome to the Indie Hangout, Dimi.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. What's happening, guys?
Yeah, good stuff. So it's funny, Maz, you introduced me to Dimi way back when, and that was on, I think, another podcast, actually. So that was really cool to be able to get introduced to Dimi, and I've followed him a bit every now and then throughout your journey as well. But instead of having us go over your journey, why don't you let us know a little bit about your content, let the listeners know a bit about you and what you really get into.
Oh boy, where the hell do I start? Well, I kind of started my journey on YouTube, just like Maz, also where I met him. I used to actually do very different content. I used to start making videos because I was a retro game collector. So I actually went out to flea markets, tried finding new retro games to add to my collection, and I made videos about that. But as most of you guys know, it's really hard to get out there on YouTube, and especially if you want to get paid for your videos, you had to get like those 4,000 watch time hours, 1,000 subs. I wasn't getting any of that. And then we heard that it would be very helpful to start streaming because it would really help you with your watch time hours. So I kind of rolled into streaming just to be able to get my videos paid. And now look at me. I'm streaming way more than I'm making videos right now, and I really rolled into a very different path. It's been a wild ride, for sure. And that's been how long now, Maz? Did you say 2017?
So we met in 17 when we were doing just content creation. At the end of 17, that's where they went for it. So it was 10,000 views to partner on YouTube. That's it. You had 10,000 views and you're good to go. I think maybe 100 subs as well.
Yeah, by the time you got there, they changed it. Yeah.
Right. Well, just as I was starting to get that momentum, as you were getting that momentum, it was like, and I think that maybe you were close to were close to partnering anyway at that point, or you already were.
I don't know. It's been way too long. I don't know.
It's
anymore.
too long, right? And so I actually met a creator named Rothenium, and he's the one that was streaming. I'm like, you know what? He makes this look really easy, and this could be a lot of fun. So I got into that as well, but I met you at the same time. We both were kind of like, well, let's just support each other and roll with it. And it took off. I mean, it took off for both of us for a little bit there. But that's when, you know, YouTube gaming was there, and Twitch wasn't as impactful as it is today. And actually,
the landscape has definitely changed.
Yeah, right. And it's actually even less impactful now than it was 4 or 5 years ago already. During that time, we were in a spot where YouTube for streaming was really hot because they didn't have the shorts yet. It was pushing watch time, and it was pushing subs. So it was easy to accumulate that time. And I kind of rolled into the same thing. I had started out doing gaming tutorials, like achievement hunting or trophy hunting tutorial guides, and then went into the streaming at the same time that you did, Dimi. We kind of got into it together, and
yeah, that's true.
It just kind of took off from there. And, you know, I got away from content creating as well, and I'm trying to mix that up again. But yeah, it was 18 to answer your question.
Sheesh. A lot has changed in that time, hasn't it?
Unbelievable amounts has changed.
I gotta say, I mean, it also really has like changed me as a person. Because if I watch back now what my streams looked like at first and what they look like right now, like I feel like I had a really big personality change. Like it's crazy. Like I'm way more confident than I used to be. I'm way more talkative. I'm way more loud. Like I used to be so timid. I used to be like so shy. A lot has changed. I mean, you kind of have to as a content creator, of course. Otherwise, people are not gonna watch you.
So, Dimi, you can expand on that a little bit. You said your confidence level has changed from the time that you started. Can you expand on that a little bit more about what you mean by how has your confidence changed overall? I mean, there's a lot. I'm sure there are multiple factors there.
There's definitely been multiple factors. Yeah, one of them is just practicing as a streamer and just becoming more confident in your speech. Because at first you're like kind of timid, you don't really know what's going to happen, you're kind of afraid of people's response, so you're a bit shy. And like over the course of the years, you notice that your confidence levels go up and you start becoming more fluent. But then also when I used to start streaming, I was also a pretty chunky guy. I was pretty big, to say it that way. Which really didn't help me in my confidence. But then over the course of the years, I decided to do something about it. I'm not really going to go into details on what I did, but I did manage to lose like a lot of kilos over the years. Like, okay, kilos. You guys work in pounds, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm trying to think. Like, I lost 65 kilos. Grok, tell us how much that is.
So it's just 65 times 2.2, right? So that's a good,
A quick math.
respectable amount there. So I mean, that's 143 pounds.
That is a
man.
lot.
That's incredible.
Apparently, I lost 143 pounds, which obviously does a lot to a person. I pretty much halved my size, which is insane, and it really does a lot to a person, to a streamer, especially when you're the kind of streamer that always puts yourself out on the camera, and you're being self-aware of what people are seeing. And I mean, I'm always having my own stream on the sides as well, so I'm always like kind of reflecting on myself and seeing what I look like. So trying to see what people are seeing. And when you're more skinny, you just feel way more better in the skin. And you know, because in the end, people, especially when you're a cam streamer, people just want to see a good looking person. It is what it is. We've had this conversation already, but people are going to be watching a person that looks good way more than the person that doesn't, if you catch my drift. So it's definitely done a lot for me. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, for sure. That's something huge, you know. Not only, especially, I mean, all of us are content creators. We've all had some kind of journey going through, and yours is definitely even more so when it comes to something like that. Because, you know, you have that factor of like, actually, it's funny enough that I had talked with Maz and Kronos here that I was on a journey of trying to get better in shape and fit. It's because I think somehow, like a lot of creators, we get into that grind of day in, day out, just looking at numbers, trying to perfect things and record new things and stream better. And you lose sight of like taking care of yourself and actually eating right and getting good sleep. And you're sacrificing all these things. Then you take a step back after maybe a burnout and you're like, whoa, I need to correct this, you know?
That's where I'm at right now.
And it's very easy. It's very easy to fall back into the same patterns.
It really is. I mean, that's something that I don't want to say struggling with, but something that I'm cognizant of and focusing on at the same time. So I've managed to split my focus with content creation and everything. I mean, I say split focus as in two focuses, but I've got 18 different things in my purview right now.
Nice. All right. Well, now that our listeners know a little bit more about you, I think it'd be fun to go around and see a little bit what each of one of us have been playing. And I know it's going to be a bit of a difference, I think, this time. So let's start with Kronos. What have you been playing, dude?
A little bit of everything. I've been jumping around a lot here lately. So I was playing some Pokemon Fire Red. I went back on some emulators and started playing the older games there with the Pokemon and stuff. And then offline, I've been playing a lot of Farm Simulator 25 with the kids and stuff because they love playing that game. And here the last 2 days, I've been playing Battlefield 6. Like, yeah, I haven't been playing the same stuff as like I used to. So trying to switch it up some, get into some new games, some new areas, figure out if there's other stuff out there I want to play more often. Just try and have some fun, like we've been saying.
Nice, dude. For me, I actually haven't been playing much. I'll be honest. I've been boring. I've been very boring. I haven't really been playing much of anything. You know what's funny? I've been playing the original Final Fantasy VII still. That's all I've been doing. Like on my off time.
That is not boring.
Yeah.
That is the best. That is the best game ever.
The best, dude. I remember, it's funny thinking back when we had that podcast together with Maz. That was one game we both brought up. Like, yeah, that's our game, man. That is the one.
Hasn't changed.
That was 6 years ago, too.
Yeah, man. Insane. So, yeah, I've been playing that because, like I said, I call myself, a hardcore gamer, and I love that game to death, but I never beat it. So it's kind of bad on me. So I'm trying to get through to beat it this time. But it's, it's my fun game that at night before I go to bed, after a long day of work and everything, and after working on my game, I'll go in the bedroom, grab my Steam Deck, and start playing. So that's what I've been doing. Because other than that, I've been just hardcore working on my game. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I've been working on my main big game, and I've been working on a smaller side game that I know I can get done within maybe not within the year, but within a year's time, so that I can at least get something out there in between working on my big one. And I think that's good for me. And I think it's good and it's something I've been catching on to a lot of other indie devs is they'll do stuff like that. And I think we've discussed it, like the creator of the game, Zephyr, a Thief's Melody, I think it was called. We had noticed that when you're looking through his bio, he had created like all these small games. Over the 12 years, he was working on that big game, and then he released a big game. And as far as I can tell, it's doing pretty well. So it's something I'm trying to encapsulate and work on as well, because it's like if I'm working on my small game and I've done something in it that I'm like, whoa, I think that'd be really cool if I implemented that in my big game. I think I'm going to do that. And it's good to get your mind off it, I think, as an indie dev too. If you're just hyper focused, and this is kind of going to be the big topic about indie dev and being a content creator, and the similarities between the two is that, there's so much. If you hyper focused on something, only one thing consistently day after day, you can get burnt on it real quick. And all it reminds me of is like if you're a content creator and you're just playing one game every day for 8+ hours a day, it's really hard to not get burnt out. And I think that's, for me, would be good to, work on. But yeah, so anyways, that's what I've been doing. Final Fantasy VII, working on my games. What about you, Maz?
It's funny because I've been really focusing on indie games and this indie game showcase, and it's something that I'm not going to be getting rid of anytime soon, but I definitely feel like my purview is kind of expanding again and going back to AAA games and some AA games that I've been playing, some games that are going to be coming out. I've been playing Final Fantasy IV again. So that came out in 91. I've probably played that through completely.
Look at us.
2,000 times, right? And I've also been, doing some indie games here and there, doing a lot of networking, but I've been taking some time off from streaming recently just because I'm working on some big picture things, working on the self-care, working on some things for work, some pretty big projects for work, looking and researching into getting into game development. I don't plan on getting rid of the indie games by any site, but I'm probably going to make that a little bit of a smaller scope on my channels moving forward, except for the indie game showcases that I'm going to do weekly. Maybe not streaming the indie games or solely indie games so much lately. So it's been Fallout Shelter. I started one as of the time of this recording, started a Fallout Shelter series on Twitch. I also created a new VODs only channel on YouTube. Everything that I stream will be put into that and not on my main channel. So it'll just kind of mitigate the whole algorithm thing. But there are some other games that are going to be starting soon. Like Mafia Old Country just came out that I'm really excited to play. I mean, I'm a huge Mafia fan. I loved 1, I loved 2, 3 was okay, I guess. But Old Country just looks phenomenal. And then, of course, at the end of September, we've got Final Fantasy Tactics coming out. So those are the things that those are in my purview. Those are like, they're on my radar. Right now, I'm playing some indie games here and there, the demos to kind of show things off. But it's been kind of, I'm about to start High on Life as well. I don't know if you guys have heard that. It's a game put out by, it's an indie developer, Squanch Games, Justin Roiland, who created Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
It's a game that was made by the Rick and Morty creator. So it's got his voiceovers and a lot of that crazy crap that he does in what was his show. But yeah, not a whole lot has changed too much with what I've been playing lately, unfortunately.
Hey, man, it's all good. It's all good. It sounds good, man. What about you, Dimi? What have you been playing, man?
Oh, I don't play games anymore.
Oh,
Nah, I'm joking.
I don't blame you.
No. Well, Mas kind of already said it in his introduction on me. Past couple of years, I've been playing a lot of like Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail, but just as we were having that discussion about, or Dimattic was saying this, that it can get really easy to start getting burnt out when you play the same thing over and over again for like 8 hours a day. I have been feeling the same thing a little bit with Genshin Impact. It's been a little bit too much as of late. So I've kind of been playing some other stuff like Wuthering Waves. I've been playing Nikkei Gods of Victory. I don't know if you guys heard about these any of these kinds of games. They're all gacha games. So I've been really big on the gacha game on the gacha games as of late. Well, not even as of late, for like the past 4 years. I'm usually a big RPG kind of guy, so it kind of falls into that spectrum, but also not completely. And I've also, just like you two, I've also been playing Final Fantasy again. I've been doing a I've been doing a Final Fantasy marathon on my channel as of late, starting from Final Fantasy 1 until the last one. I'm currently on Final Fantasy 3, working my way through that. Then I'm also going to move on to Final Fantasy 4, so yeah, it should be fun.
That's awesome. It's funny that at least the three of us, 3 out of 4, are playing some Final Fantasy games.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good, Kronos.
Always comes down to it. Like, Kronos doesn't play Final Fantasy.
Come on,
Kronos
man.
is too busy taking over the world right now.
Yeah, man. Well, I think so as far as it comes to being a creator and everything, you said you've been feeling a little bit of burnout and you've been jumping into other things, right?
Oh yeah.
Have you noticed that usually when it comes to big creators like yourself going in and jumping on new style games, that it has an impact on your audience per se? Like if you're jumping in, all of a sudden a game like Final Fantasy 1, they've never played it before. You start playing it and then you got like everyone's like all hyped about it and they're downloading and starting to play it as well.
Well, I wouldn't say that that's the case for Final Fantasy, but yeah, overall, you can definitely feel the impact. If you're used to playing one kind of game always, people come and check you out for that, and then suddenly when you start playing something else, I mean, it can go two ways. So you pretty much have your loyals that just will watch anything that you play, but then you also have other people that just want to watch you play one thing, and as soon as you don't play that, they're like, man, fuck this shit, I'm out, you know. So it really depends on your audience, but I can definitely feel a huge drop whenever I play something that I usually don't play. That's for sure. But then I guess it's just up to yourself as a streamer to decide how you're going to deal with that, you know? Do you just want to play something that you like and want to have fun and not care about the numbers, or are you really going to let the numbers affect you, and are you going to try to please the people, you know? That's something that you have to decide for yourself at that point.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I was going to say, Matt, I think Maz wants to chime in on this one.
You're speaking Greek, bro. No, you're absolutely right, Dimi. I mean, the thing is, as we evolve, there's ways that you can go about it. The way that things evolve is you can say, hey, I'm out as well, you know? And I've always had that follow the streamer, not the game mentality. And we all know that that's not how it is, but it is how it is as well. You know, you just kind of mentioned it. Well, it's how it should be. And it is how it is sometimes. You're going to find those special loyals, as you were talking about, that are. I've had KMP, one of my really, really good friends, another fellow.
My very first follower.
Was he really? Very cool. Yeah.
Nice.
I love that. And the thing is with KMP is he said to me, and this is like in 2018, 2019, it's like, dude, I tune in and watch you play Tetris. It's like, okay. I'm not going to put that to the test. It's all how you
bring it, man. It's all how you bring it.
I might not put that to the test because I don't know how long I can play Tetris for hours on it. I don't think that's a thing, but I will, you know, I think you have those people that are like that. And then you have those people that are like, well, I'm only here for the game. And so I think as a creator, or a streamer, or both, as you start to understand that and get that in your head, it makes it a little bit easier, an easier pill to swallow, that not everybody's going to show up every time, but you will have your loyals. It's building things out of nothing, but it's the way you treat your people, the way that they are, like what's going on in their lives. Do they need that, like to feel like the connection? There's a lot of different moving parts to it. So I agree with you saying, do you focus on the numbers? Do you not focus on the numbers? I'm a numbers driven person, and I've just recently been kind of resigned myself to, I'm a numbers driven person. A lot of people are like, don't look at the numbers, don't blah, blah, blah. That's who I am. So
it's easier said than done.
It's easier said than done. And if you can keep that mentality that, you know, it should be follow the streamer, not the game, but it's not that way, kind of that way, but it's more, I'm here to watch my game, the game that I'm interested in. And if you can couple that with how the numbers work, then it's a little bit easier. And that's one thing that I'm working on as well. So I completely agree with what you're saying there. And it can lead to serious burnout.
Yeah, I think all of us have been through that in terms of getting behind a game that has like a cult following behind it and gaining a bit of traction, and then getting to that burnout point. You're like, I can't do it anymore. I want to jump on something else. And as soon as you do, yeah, you'll maybe have a small fraction of your audience follow you to the new game you're playing, and then it's almost like you're having to build yourself back up from that. I mean,
been there a couple of times already.
I was about to say,
yeah.
for you, Dimi, I remember seeing you go through it, and it's hard. It's amazing that you've been able to do it, because a lot of people like myself definitely wasn't able to, because going from Minecraft content from the very beginning and getting that huge following behind. And I was like, all of us, it seemed at some point we're playing Minecraft and getting a lot of subscribers, get a lot of watch time. A lot of us got partnered because of it. And then it dropped off, and sitting there looking at analytics, like, what is going on? And talking about numbers and everything. It's funny because when things are going good, you don't really, at least for me, I'm not looking at numbers. I'm like,
oh no, you're just riding the train then,
Yeah. But as soon as things start tanking, you're like going through everything, every little detail in your analytics.
For sure,
like,
for sure.
Where did it go wrong? But it's
for sure.
Yeah, it's almost like you're starting out fresh, so it's hard, man.
Yeah, I'll be very honest. I don't think because like you said, I built myself back up again. Like when I used to play Minecraft, I used to have a really big following on YouTube. Back when I streamed it. Then I kind of stopped doing that, and I fell off immensely. So I really had to build myself back up there again, because I just didn't want to do that kind of content anymore. I'll be very honest. I've been able to kind of build myself back up a little bit right now, but I don't think I could do it a second time now, because it takes so much out of you. It's insane, and look at how long it took me to get to where I am right now. So I'm really not sure if I could make myself go through that again.
Yeah.
It takes a lot out of you, and quite honestly, on a personal level, watching you go through that kind of burnout and that kind of fall off, trying to get out of Minecraft. Because let's face facts, and we've talked about this on the podcast before. Minecraft is a game that you love, but when you love it, you play it to death, to the point where you never want to play it again. And then you put it down for a year and a half, and then you're like, look at this, Minecraft, what a great game. And then you play it to death, and then you don't want to play it anymore. So there are some people that can fall in love with and play that game forever, and good for you. I have to have variety in my life.
For me, really, it's in phases.
Right.
Minecraft really has become that game that I play for myself right now, because nowadays when I'm gaming, I only think in content right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Way too few I still play games like purely for myself, just to chill out, after
Agreed.
Without the whole content spectrum. Minecraft is one of those games that I just play for myself right now. So there is like a server that I play with, that I sometimes play on with friends, and I'm having a good time with it that way.
And that's how it should be, because and that's going back to what I was saying there, when you wanted to get out of that, the amount of anguish that you went through, because not only was it, did it fall off for you, but it kind of got into your head, and people were harassing you about it. Like, dude, stop doing what you're doing and play Minecraft.
Yeah.
And that's not okay. Yeah, and you ultimately quit for a while. I think you took, how much time did you take off? You took at least 6 months off. I know that you took a week off, and you said to me, I remember clear as day, you're like, dude, I'm happier. I'm going to keep running. I'm going to keep running with this. And I think it went months, I think, but I'm glad you came back.
I can't give you the numbers, and I don't know anymore. It's been a long time, but yeah, I did take a huge break. That's true. Yeah.
Yep. And I'm glad you came back. You rebuilt it.
I'm glad I came back as well. I just love doing this kind of shit,
It's fun. Yeah.
I mean, there's just some kind of kick that you get out of it, and just the whole interaction with people is just, it's amazing.
It's the dopamine hit.
Exactly. I mean, you do get back from your community.
It's the followers. It's the interaction. It's that dopamine.
Just knowing that you really mean something in people's lives just by doing these streams, actually like make their day better. It's a really good feeling. That's I guess that's probably what keeps me going as well, because just every now and then suddenly you get like a message either in your stream chat or maybe on Discord, a DM, just people suddenly being like, hey, I just want to thank you for all your content you've been making. It's really been brightening my day, and stuff like that. Then you're just like, aw,
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's what you do it for,
Yeah, you love to hear that. And Like, honestly,
Makes it worth
anytime
it.
I've ever had that happen to me, it's like, really? Not to be like, that's stupid. I don't mean it that way, but it's like, but I mean it like, really? Because I don't think that anybody ever decided to get on, of the four of us, nobody got onto YouTube and Twitch and be like, I'm going to create content to make a difference in people's lives. Nobody said that. And I think that
Oh,
came out
no,
of left
no, no.
field a lot, And that's what I mean by it's like, really? Because you don't realize that what you're doing is very important to some people, depending on
Yeah,
where they are in
that's
their
something that
lives.
we really don't realize when we stream sometimes. Because in the end,
Exactly.
you're just sitting there, you're playing a game, you're talking to a chat that you can't see, but you don't really know the person behind that name in the chat. What they got going on.
It's funny that one-way conversation, almost to a point, you're live and it's not really one way because you have your chat coming through and you don't really think about it, right? It's something that it really impacts you. I don't know if you've ever, it's probably you can remember the first time you got one of those DMs from someone and really made you sit back and realize, like, wow, I didn't
Yeah,
realize I was having this kind of impact with people.
and then you're like, okay, I got to keep going.
Yeah, it almost makes you feel like you have to continue going. Even if you have a bad day, you're going to be like, "Oh no, I need to keep going because of so and so or whatever."
Yeah,
But
true.
did you I'm going to go ahead and ask you this based on all of us in the beginning too, was when we all started off and even now. So when I was off for 2 years, my son was born and I was like, all right, guys, hiatus, I'll be back. And then 2 years later, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll try and do something again. Trying to get back into it and do a different game reminds me of like you getting into it and trying a new game after Minecraft, and same for Maz and same for Kronos, is getting into something new and dealing with low viewership. And I feel that in my case, I feel like it's the same as dealing with for an indie dev, just kind of rolling it back to indies for a minute here. I think it can be comparable to a small indie dev that no one knows about trying to get wish lists. Like looking at that number on the wish list going up very slowly, like you get like 10 wish lists, you're like, oh my God, my game sucks. Kind of reminds me of like anyone for a creator. If you feel like, you got one or two viewers, you're
Hmm.
like, oh my God, what do I need to amp this up? Like, because night after night, you're like, what do I need to do to correct this or get more viewers? Or do I need to try this game? Do I need to try that game? And I feel like also it might have to do something with, we briefly mentioned it was like that cult following, maybe finding that cult following game that allows you to have a big audience. Because as far as we've gone through many episodes of talking about indie games, it's always it's this almost a burnout of indies. Like you get this one, you're like, oh, this one's gonna be the one, and then it's coming gone in a flash. It's like trying to find the next one. Like obviously we've talked about Minecraft technically was an indie game when it first started out, and obviously one of the biggest. So do you think, as far as content creators as well, is grabbing onto a cult following game in order to get anywhere with your content creation?
Oh, definitely, definitely. I've definitely also, as a streamer, I've definitely noticed when you start playing one of the bigger games. I mean, just to give an example, look at Fortnite. Look at Fortnite. That game is so huge, and there are so many people streaming in that game. It's insane. The competition is so fierce. It's massively insane. So going into like more cult games, or just lesser known games that have a way lesser viewership will actually help you out way more because you will be found by people way easier.
Right. And I wonder if it's a matter of, I wonder if it's a matter of some people do try to find those hit games and they keep missing. These indie games come out and it's like, this is like, that's what I was really getting as like, oh, this is the next one. And then it's not. And then they jump to another one and jump to another one. And then the viewership's not really going up because they're not grabbing on to that cult following game. But as we said before, that's not really what we want to be about. I do feel at some point, and this is just my opinion, I would love for you guys to chime in on this. At some point, you feel that if you're a big time creator, let's say 500,000 plus subs, right, on YouTube, and I don't even know
Hmm.
what that would correlate to Twitch. At that point, it doesn't really matter what you play. To a point, I think you should still play the game that got you there. But on the opposite end of that, it's not going to affect you as much if you started to stream games that didn't really pertain to you getting to that point. I think you can get away with it. And it does turn into more of that, it follow the streamer and not the game when you are at that success level.
Oh,
Whereas
definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's definitely something that in my opinion, I think that's the point. Like at my level, I need to play the games that are popular in order to get my personality out there to get people to jump on board, right? So what do you feel about that, Kronos? Do you think that's valid?
I mean, yeah, I see it that way, and I've tried to do that myself. But then it's at times too, like Demi said, it's such a flooded market too at the same time. So you're like competing with like Battlefield 6 that I'm playing right now. Like I streamed it last night, and there's I think like 700,000 people watching it on Twitch, and I had two people in my stream, and that was just people who have been there before. So it's like there were so many people streaming the game and so many people watching other people that it was just hard to get any viewers from it. So it's like, I guess back to what Demi said, that sometimes, playing that smaller game, like when I did Pokemon Fire Red, it's got like 100 viewers, I think, at a time on Twitch. And I actually had a couple people tuning in that way. So I don't know, it can be hit or miss. Like it could be really good or it could be really bad for viewership when you play those bigger games that have a lot of following. Like, for example, Repo, as we've been talking about, people that follow the game. I had 3 people that would watch every Repo stream and would comment and talk and stuff. And the last 3 streams I've played other games, one guy has commented every time, like, when are you playing Repo again? And I'll tell him, like, hey, not anytime soon. And he doesn't say anything else. It's one comment and that's it. The other 2 don't even watch. So it's like that the cult following can also just, I guess, in a way hurt, like.
Oh yeah, I could see that. It's almost like you got to find that middle ground game. The one it's not completely fallen off, but it's not the top ranks of the first 5 games that have the most viewership on Twitch. It's somewhere in the middle for a smaller content creator to get in and outshine everyone else that's playing that specific game, whatever it may be. And hopefully that game doesn't drop off at some point as well,
Well,
What do you think, man?
that and then
Go ahead,
like
Crows.
you can.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say that, and then also some of those games you can find people who are more like just looking for a streamer to interact with, and not so much as like following just the game.
Right.
So you'll get those people who are like, hey, yeah, you're playing this game today, but you're playing this game tomorrow. I'm still gonna watch it. Like it. I think, like you said, that middle ground to where you could actually find people who want to watch just you in general could be a lot more beneficial than doing the really popular games for those exact viewers.
Yeah.
But it also shouldn't stop you from playing those very popular games, especially if you really want to play them.
Oh yeah, I get that.
I'm just saying, don't make it a thing that you're just gonna lock yourself out of having fun on these new games just because you're like, okay, I'm not gonna play it, otherwise I'm not gonna get people in.
Yeah. Well, see, that's where the whole, like, I guess, like, Battlefield 6, like, I was playing that pretty much offline while we were, getting started and everything. So I tend to try to do that at times too. Like the games I really want to play is my offline games.
Yeah. What about you, Miss?
I started streaming Fallout 4, and I streamed that for months, and I only streamed Fallout, and that's where I got a really big following. And then eventually it went over to Skyrim. So not really the same type of game, but the same idea, the same type of UI to a certain extent, and definitely the same publisher, the same developer, that kind of thing. I moved over to, what was it? It was Far Cry Primal after that. And we're talking probably 6 months straight of just those 2 games. Then moved over to Far Cry Primal and everything kind of dropped off. And I had some people, a lot of those people stayed, but a lot of them didn't come in. And then my follower rate, like there were times, especially when things were really, really good at the beginning, that it would be nothing to have 50, 60, 70 followers, subscribers on YouTube in a single, 2-3 hour stream. It was just that popular at the time. And we're talking 2018. At that point, Fallout 4 is only 4 years old? It's before 76 came out. So things kind of changed around at that point. But as I play a little bit less popular games, it turns out that less people come in. I think as you get larger, and it's something I've seen Dimi be able to combat now. As you get larger, you're able to be a little bit more liberal with what you stream, because to your point, there are that follow the streamer, not the game. There are those people out there, which is why I was saying it's both. It's follow the streamer, not the game. Those are your loyals, and then the people that just want to see their own game. And so it's finding that mix. But I think as you get larger, you're able to kind of watch play whatever you want. There's a guy that a streamer that plays Destiny 2, plays that all the time, has a loyal following, has maybe, 1,500, 1,800 viewers in any stream. And I'm kind of making this up as an example. I'm not talking about anybody specifically.
Oh, because I had somebody in my mind.
Well, did you? Oh, well, great. And then the Fallout TV show comes on, right? And this guy's like, well, I want some more views. So I'm going to go ahead because Fallout's popular right now. I'm going to pop in Fallout 4. I'm going to pop in 76, and they'll get 2,000-3,000 subscribers, not subscribers, 2,000-3,000 viewers, because they already have their loyals that, a couple thousand, maybe 400 or 500 loyals that are going to watch them anyway. And it's just kind of riding those trends. I think as a smaller streamer, you don't have that kind of luxury.
How do you feel about that, Dimi?
He's right about that one. Oh, he's completely right. Just a question towards Mass, this person that you're talking about, or just in general, would you also say that in the, like, for instance, Fallout 4, the show that came up, brought a bit more popularity to playing Fallout 4 and stuff? Does it also like equally die as fast as the hype for the show goes down?
I would absolutely say yes to that. And it's like that with new games as well, a lot of times. But as the show is on, so it's on Amazon, so it's not like Netflix or Hulu where it's like, hey, we're going to drop the entire series and just kind of binge it and then be done with it. So it sustains over 8, 9, 10 weeks, however long the season is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you give it maybe a couple of weeks after that, and then it just kind of peters out. And it's more like a quick grab for
exactly. And usually you're just back to square one.
Right. It's a quick grab for those high volume streamers you get a lot of viewers. And unfortunately, when it's popular and they're doing that, these smaller viewers that are like, hey, I want Bethesda games, I want Fallout games to be my thing, they get pushed down to the bottom, even though it's their main game, because these larger streamers are kind of snapping up those views while it's popular, and then it kind of dries up. And those people, a lot of times they've gotten their fill at that point. Okay, I've watched the show. Oh, you know what? I haven't played that game in a while. I don't have that game. I'm gonna throw it on Twitch during work or while I'm doing this. And so it's kind of at the forefront, but then it kind of just disappears. And you see it all the time with new games, like the Precinct.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'll use that one.
I would really like advice, like especially for like AAA games. Just to give an example, y'all probably know this game, Expedition 33.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I love that game to death. It was so amazing. But usually when you play these kinds of games, or when you want to play these kinds of games as a small time streamer, it's always better to just wait it out a couple of weeks, because you just know that all the big time streamers are going to be streaming this first. You are not going to get any viewership. Usually they play it, they finish it, and they don't go back to the game anymore. Usually when those bigger streamers start dropping off, after that, it's kind of like your moment as a smaller streamer to start playing those games, because you're going to get way more viewership, because there's going to be those hardcore fans that really love the game that are still going to be looking for streamers that play this. And it's going to be way easier for you to find like like-minded people that way than to just like play it straight when it comes out. I've definitely noticed this like on many occasions already with multiple games.
I did not think of it that way.
Part of growing your channel, we talk about is its personality, it's consistency, but it's also luck. We could all agree with that. I mean, right? Has some luck.
You can have the best personality, but if people don't find you, then people are not going to be able to see your personality.
Right. But we would all agree that it would be, luck is a factor as well, right?
Yeah, sometimes it really is like being the right moment at the right time, Definitely.
Right, and so here's the silver lining to these larger streamers pulling in and grabbing all these viewers for these games that they don't normally stream, because there's something out there making the game trend, is that a smaller streamer does have an opportunity to be rated by a large streamer, and that can catapult their career. And it's happened before. I mean, Ninja started out because Drake wanted to play Fortnite with him. I mean, what? That's crazy. That's insane luck. And so
did he really have like a massive following before that?
But it wasn't as mainstream as he was. That put him like completely on the map. Yeah, he was building up because he made a big following off of his sheer skill of the game, right? But then that's that parabolic celebrity level when you've got somebody like Drake coming into your stream.
Oh, for sure.
Be like, hey, play with me. That's crazy. So there's luck that plays a factor for sure. And I think that is it's very slim, but that's why it's luck, right? It's not something that you can make happen. And I think that you have a large streamer like that that raids somebody that is has 35 followers and they're streaming for themselves, and somebody raids them with 1,000 viewers. You think they're not going to snap up a few dozen followers off of that?
Yeah. I mean, it definitely also depends on how you act once that happens.
Yes, exactly.
There's so many people that like they're so used to streaming for like 1 or 2 people, and suddenly they get like a massive raid of like I've had this once myself within the Genshin Impact category. I got raided by like one of the biggest streamers. He brought in like 3,000 viewers, and then you're like, holy shit, what the fuck do I do with this? You know, I mean, you don't know how to respond. Like, hi guys, you have to make sure at that point that you don't like fall under the pressure. You know, because it's insane.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And
because it's all about that first impression at that point, and if you don't deliver, then people are just gonna be off. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I've had that happen with I've been rated by people that you've only 50 early on. It's like and I remember when I was closing in on 1,000 subscribers back on the YouTube days, I got up to like, it was just organically at that point, but I had like 65 viewers in one of my Fallout streams. And I was like, and I went AFK because I was literally like a month into streaming. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And so I was like, okay, I went AFK for about 5 minutes. I composed myself and came back, but it was like, my God. So I definitely understand. That's like, we're talking about, luck plays a factor, and there's skill, there's how you do it. There's luck, there's your skills, your appearance, your presentation. Once you get that luck and somebody hits you with that large follower, that large viewer count, then you got to kind of click in with that skill, to your point, Dimi.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. It's almost humbling to a point. Like, well, you know how long each of us have been doing this for? And it kind of brings you back, at least for me, it would bring me back to like when I first started, where all of a sudden you get, tongue-tied, and you almost got this imposter syndrome afterwards, like, like, oh, I don't deserve this, or, I don't know why this many people are watching me, or whatever the case may be. But it also, like, it just really throws you for a loop when you get that many people, especially someone rating you. You get a lot of people thrown in at you. And exactly to Dimi's point, and yours, Maz, is like, you automatically is like you try to hide it as a streamer because you're like, yeah, show must go on. You got to continue doing what you're doing. But a big event happens. You're like, hi, yeah, all right. So yeah, I'm doing this. Like you get all, for me, I get all weird and like, okay, I just need to continue on. But it's funny how that happens. It could be very humbling.
Like if you don't use a webcam, at least you can hide it just a little bit. But if you use a webcam, people could just read it off of your face,
I ain't had that experience yet.
Really?
It's coming, bro. It's coming.
The only person that's ever rated me is Maz, and I already knew the people coming in from his community. So I was like, hey guys, I haven't been caught off guard yet. I'm pretty sure I'd be like Maz, like, hold on, pose myself, like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I mean, as it happens over and over again, it doesn't happen super often, but you get used to it, But Dimi actually rated me a couple months ago with 100 people. I was like, what's up, guys? And I love he says, I bring you lurkers.
I remember seeing that. Yeah, it was like, I bring the lurkers or something like that. It was like,
bring you lurkers.
They don't talk, but they're there.
They're watching. Just
That's
know
funny.
that. Always watching, Maz.
Always watching you, Wachowski.
So I got a question for you, Dimi. And well, before I get into the question, I want to go ahead and reiterate to our listeners that all of this may seem a bit off script, but it all pertains to a little bit, like I said, we're trying to bring the similarities between indie devs' journeys and content creators' journeys, because all of us are content creators and some of us getting on the game dev journey as well. It's so similar. So like for me, before I ask you the question, Dimi, for me, I spend a lot of time, and it's almost impossible for me to split my time working on my games, right? I'm constantly, every night, I got a full-time job, and I work, and I get up at 5 in the morning, sometimes 4:30 in the morning, go to work, and I don't get home until about 6 o'clock. And from then, I eat, shower, spend time with my little one. He goes to bed at 7:30, 8 o'clock, spend a little bit of time with the wife, and then I finally get downstairs to work on my game. And that leaves me maybe like 2 hours if I'm lucky. and that's sacrificing sleep so that
Yep.
I can at least get something done. And then I do it all over again. And then on the weekends, it's almost like, especially during the summer, I got a lot of other things to do, projects, whatever the case may be. And I maybe could get a good 5 hours, and I have to set apart that time. And luckily, I'm married to my amazing wife that is completely understanding with that. And she, wants the best for me to continue and do these things to hopefully make it my full-time gig, right? As many of all of us have, is that, a supportive person to help us through that as well. And
Oh, you definitely need that. Yeah.
yeah, it's yeah, definitely. So that's how my lifestyle is, and I have a very hard time trying to find, because I obviously, like you, love to stream as well, and I love to do content creation, and it's so hard to do while doing this. But for you, like, how many hours do you put into streaming and content creation weekly, like including off time? Are you like probably like me, where I'm thinking about it constantly when I'm not doing it at work, like what I'm gonna do with this, what I'm gonna do with that, can I make time for this? How is yours like?
Oh God, that's embarrassing to say. Yeah. Yeah. I spend way too much time streaming. That's a fact. Um, like just like you, I work a full-time job as well. Just like this week, I worked early shifts. I also had to wake up at 3:30 in the morning, to go work my shift. Then I try to combine streaming with that, like you said, spending some time with the wife, with the kid, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it really leaves you not a lot of time left anymore to be doing all that kind of stuff. But I still try to do it, of course, especially when you work a schedule like I do, because my schedule is all over the place. Like I work early shifts, I work night shifts, I work late shifts. Sometimes I work weekends. So. That's also the reason why I can't really like have a consistent streaming schedule. Is it's kind of all over the place, but somehow it works. But yeah, man, whenever I find the time, I do like at least 5, 6, sometimes 7 hour streams when I get the chance, which really doesn't leave a lot of time for sleeping, just like you said.
Yeah.
If I get like 4 hours sleep, it's a lot,
Yeah,
So,
dude.
I really wonder sometimes how I'm still alive. It's insane. I don't know how I do it. Caffeine helps.
Dude, I drink an ungodly amount of coffee, and I've tried to stay off the energy drinks because it's too much, man. I did limit myself to maybe one every 3 days or something like that, but coffee is my friend.
Damn.
I think
So
there's a lot of people.
The secret is the one thing that I quit back in February.
Damn.
Yeah, man.
Time to get back to it.
Caffeine.
Get back on it.
Oh man, I ain't had caffeine since February.
It's crazy.
Actually, I take that back. I had a Coca-Cola when I got out of the hospital the other week. So
Lies.
Nice already.
I forgot about that. I got out and I told my girl, I said, I'm getting a Coca-Cola with this breakfast sandwich. I said, I don't care.
I'd say, well, knowing all that, you're probably like me in Kronos and Maz as well, where like we work ourselves almost to burnout. And then I, for one, like, it's crazy. I had Thursday, Friday off this week. So I've had a nice 4-day weekend. And I'll tell you what, from all my constant like grinding of like just working and working and working and working, I slept more than I ever have in this 4-day weekend so far than I have in like months. And I think it's because it's subconsciously my body is like, slow down.
I completely
Relax.
feel you on that one, because I decided like this week right now, I actually decided to like take a break from streaming for like just a week, because I'm just so fucking tired.
Yeah.
and I've been nonstop just every time. I mean, I still went to go to work, obviously, but like every time I just came back from work, I just went to my couch and I just dropped dead to sleep. I have slept so much this week, it's insane. So I was thinking like, yeah, maybe while not streaming, maybe I can like have some ideas. Maybe I can like make some videos on this, on that. Nope. Body was like, nope, you're gonna sleep.
I go through that too. I'm going through that currently as well. And to your point there, Dimi, it's like, hey, some ideas, great. Let's write them down and never revisit them again. I mean, it's so difficult to get
Wait,
back
you
into
write
the
stuff
swing of
down?
things. Yeah, because it makes me feel like I've done something.
But that's the thing, though, man. As a content creator, it's always on your mind. You're always thinking. You're always like, okay, what is my next step? What am I gonna do now? What is the current trend? How am I gonna react to that? You're constantly thinking on what the next move is. Because that's kind of
absolutely.
the space that's been created nowadays. Like it just doesn't help anymore to just stream and hope for the best. You kind of gotta take matters into your own hand, and you can't bet on one horse anymore nowadays. You really
You got to
have
market.
Yeah, you gotta market.
Yep.
You have to
You gotta market.
start putting content out there. Use everything that's available to you. Use YouTube. Use TikTok. Use. Yeah, I was gonna say Twitter, but yeah, that's kind of a rabbit hole that you maybe don't want to go down to. But you catch my drift. You just gotta
Yeah.
use everything in your possibility to just get people in there. And I think I'll say that the best one probably is still YouTube, but you really have to get caught by the algorithm, so that's also kind of that factor of luck again that we were talking about earlier.
I mean, there's a lot to it, with that we won't get into, but yeah, it's there's a lot of luck that plays a role. It depends on how solid your content is, how well laid out it is. There's a lot of moving parts to get noticed. But to your point, it's like we're at a point now where people have their streamers, right? The ones that they go watch. And if you want to break in, then you need to think way outside the box. I mean, I would love to someday put a billboard out on a highway about my stream just to see if it worked. But you have to be really creative now to get people to you.
Oh yeah.
It's funny you say that too, man, because so kind of a similar correlation between small streamer, big streamer, because I mean, a lot of other content creators would look at you, Dimi, and be like, you're successful. You have a huge following behind you and you are partnered with Twitch, right?
Yeah, but can I just say that being partnered with Twitch nowadays just doesn't mean crap. I'll be honest.
Expand on that.
Expand on that.
Yeah.
The advantages that you used to get by being a partner, you just don't get those anymore.
Oh, okay.
What were those advantages?
Well, for instance, the 70-30 split in revenue, you don't get that shit anymore. Even as a partner right now, you're still on 50-50.
What?
Unless you get to the Partner Plus program, which is basically like the next step after partner. But for reaching that, I think you need to have like a consistent viewership of like 200 or 300, which is massively insane.
Wow.
And then that's where you can apply to be on the front page of Twitch as well.
Oh,
right?
but I can do that already. I haven't really tested it out yet because I can't really ever like pinpoint a date where I'm like, okay, on that day I want to be on the front page. It's kind of hard for me sometimes to put a date like that on there, but still,
sure.
Man. It's crazy how the scene has changed over the years.
Yeah, absolutely. That's crazy to think, because and like to that point, even at your level where you are at in your content creation career, it's so similar to indie devs looking at people who have created big games. Like it's the same. It's so funny. Like the similar things smaller creators are going through. They're like, oh, if I just got to this level, or an indie dev releasing his game, it didn't do as well. Oh, if I just get the next big game, then it will make a difference, and I can, I'll, have a better opportunities here and there. When in reality, it's like, no, you still are going through the same thing. As you said, you're even as a small creator compared to a mid-sized creator, a big-time creator, whatever the case may be, like you're still going through those motions of what can I do to make the next big step in my career? What's the next big thing I need to do? You're constantly thinking of the next big thing.
Yeah, because you're constantly competing with other people.
Yeah,
You always got to bring your A game,
Yeah.
There is no moment where you can like slack off, and be like, okay, I'll be fine either way. No, you really have to deliver at all times, because if somebody's out there who's doing it better than you, then you're fucked.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What do you think, Kronos? Have you had that feeling before where you're like, oh, if I just got to the next step, everything would be easier?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, I feel like every content creator, or like, as you said, like developers and stuff, we're all at that, like, if I could just get here to where it would be, because you're wanting that comfort level, where it feels like, I know, we say don't focus on the numbers, but like if you had like, just a couple people in your streams like talking to you and keeping you going, like just that level of comfort could be enough to let you start pushing to be, okay, hey, let me try doing more of this and being more like this. And, people are liking, like you hit levels to where it helps you improve as a content creator and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Miss? Have you felt that way where it's like, oh, if I just got to the next level? And is it surprising? I mean, obviously, I feel like you've talked to Dimi quite a few times where it's like maybe you don't feel that way. Like it's like knowing what Dimi has gone through, you're like, okay, so no matter what, I'm always going to be in the same headspace, no matter how big I get.
It's weird. It depends on. It's so hard to explain because everybody starts with nothing.
Right.
We all started out streaming to 0 people. We all started out streaming to, oh my God, there are 5 people here. Oh my God, I got 10 people. And you don't realize, you realize it then, but then when it becomes the normal and that 10 eventually becomes 15 or 20. Oh, I just want to get to that next level. I want to get to that next level. And you don't seem to be able to get it. And then you kind of, if you change the game, the viewership kind of drops and that averages out. And there's a lot of different moving parts. I think that Twitch has done a pretty good job, that after a certain amount of time, lurkers are no longer lurkers. They kind of don't get counted in that viewership. Or if you have got that bad internet like I do, if my internet cuts out on me and it comes back, well, the viewers that are in there that didn't, that were lurking but haven't spoken, if they don't speak again, then they're not active. There's a lot of moving parts, but I think that we're always getting to that next level. It's sometimes, and I know with me, it's never as fast as I would like it to be. I'm going to be real here. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm patient. I'm not a patient person when it comes to that. I want to be where I want to be now. I want this to be a career for me. I want to finish out my professional career as a content creator and streamer. And is that a possibility? Sure. Is it a probability? No, it's probably not going to happen. But we can try really hard. And I think the more, it depends on our headspace. You kind of modified the question with that, New, when you asked that is, where's the headspace? What is your goal to get to that next level? What does that mean? There are different levels that people would define as levels, so to speak. But yeah, I run into the frustrations of it. I run into, sometimes you have a really good stream and you get a high off of it, that little dopamine rush. And sometimes when you don't get that, I think that's when that kind of like, okay, now I'm in a bad mood because I didn't have a good stream because you didn't get that rush that you're used to getting.
No, been there.
But yeah, it's and you're like, I had a bad stream. I only had 15 people in my stream, and there are people that if you got to be careful with who you say that to, right? Because some people are like, hey, you know what? Because I see it on X all the time. I see it on Facebook when I'm scrolling through different things. People posting, oh, I'm still only streaming to 3 people after 5 years. After I've been on Twitch for X amount of years and I still stream to myself. Every once in a while I get 2 or 3 people in there.
At that point, you have to start doing some self-reflection and start realizing that you're probably doing something wrong.
Right. And I think that at any level that we're at, we need to reflect on ourselves as well. I don't think it's just it can't possibly be me because I've got X amount of followers and I get a lot of viewers every stream. I need to, what can we do better next stream? I mean, you said it earlier, Dimi. I do the same thing. Watch your own streams. Watch your body language. Watch your attitude. How long is it between people talking? Are you engaging people? Those are the things that we need to be thinking about as well. So this is a very loaded question, Pneumatics, but going back to your question on it, yes, I've gone through that before and it can be frustrating, and I think we're always looking to level up, right?
I think the most important part is that you still make sure that you show gratitude towards what you have.
Yes.
And you really cannot start, especially on stream, you really can't start complaining about, we're only having this many viewers, oh, it's never going right, the people are never showing up. You cannot do that on stream.
No.
Because people are going to fall off even faster if you do that.
Yeah.
I see it happen so many times, and it's just so bad for you. You really can't do that. I mean, even I've made myself guilty of that on, a couple of occasions where I just had, a really bad one. But at that point, it's probably better to just, end your stream and don't start speaking out your frustrations, because it's going to be very, very bad for you if you keep on doing that.
Yeah.
I've had that a few times myself. And early on, when we were talking about, it started out really well with the Fallout streams and the Skyrim streams, and then when I changed over, things dropped off. That's when I started getting into that. It's almost like an ego thing at that point. It's not, you don't mean it to be that way, because it's hard to verbalize what you're thinking sometimes, especially when you're on the spot and you're live and you're saying, and here's the biggest thing, and it took me forever to realize it. When I'm sitting here and I still have 15, 20 people in my stream, and I'm used to having 35, 40 people in my stream, and be like, nobody's showing up. Well, you're not bitching that to the people that aren't there. You're only saying that to the people that are there.
Yeah, exactly. And
you're like,
they're like, hey, I'm not good enough for you. What is this?
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And people feel that way. They might
Mm-hmm.
not say it. They may be like, oh, I feel your pain, or I understand, because they're being nice. And you don't mean it that way. It's like, no, I'm not talking. I'm talking about the ones that aren't here, but they're not here to hear it.
Yeah,
And so,
exactly. Then why are you talking about it? Yeah.
yeah. So I started streaming with zero expectations. And I think that if you can manage that, to always have zero expectations, you're going to be a happier streamer.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. It's funny because it's very similar. Because you imagine like an indie dev that released their game and it only sold like 12 copies, and then going up on X and being like, "What the hell? No one's buying my games. I don't know why. You all said you were
It's
going
the
to wish
same
list
thing.
and
Yes.
buy my game." Like, who's gonna listen? Everyone's gonna look at that and be like, "Why the hell would I buy this game from this dude who's complaining about this right now?" It's a very similar situation.
It
And
is exactly the same. You're right.
it's it's almost better, and luckily enough, the four of us have been in it long enough that we've created these friendships with one another in order to, instead of having and voicing our frustrations to incorrectly to the audience that is there for us, we should instead be on the back end reaching out to one another and being like, "Hey man, I just don't know what I'm doing right now. I've been just having a hard time," and just talking it out that way, and having another person that might be able to, have a better connection with you on that and talk you through it. And I think the same would go for fellow indie devs. If you're having a hard time with your game, or if you just released it, it's not doing well, and you're thinking about doing the next one, it's reaching out to fellow devs. And I think that's the whole thing, is we've talked about in prior episodes too, is that networking is such a big deal with honestly anything you do, because you need to know other people in order to, one, get on the same brain wavelength to understand things. And also, like, when things are going bad, you have someone to fall back on, so you don't completely just quit and or you're like I said, complaining to the wrong people.
Yes.
I was gonna say I've always struggled with that, like reaching out. I don't know why. Like in my head, I'm always sitting here thinking, I'm like, like everybody else had to struggle and figure this stuff out. Like I can do it too.
Part of how we
So
do
I'm
it,
like,
though,
okay.
Kronos. I can't tell you
Yeah,
how
but
many times Dimi and I have had these conversations.
Way too many.
Well, like in my head, I'm like, I don't want to be that burden. Like, hey, how did y'all do this? Or hey, how are y'all doing that? Like, how are y'all making this work? Like, I feel like I'm like, no, they had to figure it out. They struggled through it. Like, why should I take the easy route by, like, I don't know.
It's not
It's
the
just-
easy. It's actually, you're making it harder on yourself, to be honest with you. And here's why. 2 words: best practices. And the only way that you get to know how to do this stuff is to learn those best practices. How do you do this? When you set up, what do you do? Oh, some people have a list of things that they need to get set up to make sure that everything's running. I should probably do that, because half the time, half my crap's not like ready to go when I go live, because I'm so scatterbrained. But there are ways and methods that we've learned over time. And I'll tell you right now, I mentioned Rothenium at the beginning. I mentioned, Dimi being one of my oldest friends. We learned this together. Hey, I found if I did this, then this usually happens. Hey, try this out. Let's try. I mean, Rothenium taught me how to edit videos when I first started. Hey, I want to get into this. And he's like, I'll show you. The guy is a professional editor and taught me how to use Creative Cloud for free. And I have, I get that a lot, Kronos, because you mentioned it, and I hear a lot of my friends say that to me. I don't want to be a burden. I hate it when people say that, because I don't ever feel like I'm being a burden to anybody. I'm going to reach out to anybody, and if they want to respond to me, great. If not, that's okay. And I'm always willing and able to repay that kindness. So never suffer in silence. We're only going to get better if we share these best practices and work together.
It's funny. I think I'm in the same category here with Kronos, where it feels like I always like feeling like a burden if I were to reach out to someone. And for me personally, it always was. It's gonna sound dumb, right? But I always felt like, even when I first started out, Maz, when I was first talking to you, like I felt like, oh, I can't, like, this is a big creator. I'm not gonna. It doesn't matter how big of a creator you were compared to me. It was like, you're just a bigger creator. I'm wasting their time by asking them these questions or asking to do this or that. I had that in the beginning. I've gone over it, but I do understand where Kronos is coming from the very beginning, because I think it's because, through our content creation careers, we've dealt with so many trolls and people that you try to network with. Maybe you raid them, trying to get to know them, and they completely just shit on you. And you're like, my God, why did I even raid this person? And it kind of get you maybe guarded. I should say is probably a good word for that, just guarded when it comes to certain things. But as far as in our friend circle, it should be very open book. Like, hey, don't feel that you are a burden. You're just reaching out, and I will help you any way I can, kind of deal.
Well, that friend circle starts somewhere, right? It starts with
Exactly.
a raid or a reach out. So I mean, you gotta do it. And if somebody tells you to F off, then you know what? F off. They're not worth your time if they're gonna talk to you like that. Seriously.
Yeah, that's
Go
true.
away.
I mean, just means that they're not your people, you know?
Yeah.
Right. And that's fine. You're not going to make everybody happy. You're not going to get along with everybody. And, you know, this is how we build our circles. We're open. We're introverted. We're extroverted people, you know, at least forward facing for some of us. But like,
Yeah.
we have no, you know, we have no hesitation to talk to people. Some of us like it when people reach out and say, hey, I want your advice.
Yeah, man.
I kind of had that, like, I have that mentality, like, when it comes to car stuff, like, you know, where racing and everything. Like, I'll ask other people questions and stuff like that. But I guess when it comes to, like, streaming and gaming, I've always felt like, you know, if you, I don't know, like, if something didn't work out, like, where someone's like, you know, hey, you know, you're just trying to take the easy route or something, and, like, it gives you a bad reputation. Like, it's a lot harder to overcome as a streamer if, you know, you have a reputation of, like, oh, he's just trying to do easy way, you know? Like, I don't know. Like, it's, I've
See,
taken
I don't think
content.
anyway.
Well, I'm saying, like, I've taken the content creation a lot more, like, cautious, I guess I could say, instead of, like, you know, like, hey, how did y'all get these, you know, to work on your streams? Or, like, how did, you know, what tags do you put on this video? Or how did you make this work? You know, like, I don't know. I just always felt like you could put yourself in a bad situation by getting a reputation of, I can't think of the word. But
Trying to like reach out all the time.
yeah, you know, instead of, like I said, instead of, like, trying to figure stuff out on your own, it's like, but, you know, like I said, from the car side, I'm always like, hey, you know, like, what'd y'all do on this motor to make it last this long? People, you know, are pretty open about it. And I'm like, I don't care on that point. I'm asking questions, you know. But I don't know. Like, it's I need to get that mentality over to the content creation side.
Yeah, for sure, dude. No, I get it 100%. And you know what? Going back real quick is I think, I think it's a fine line here. I'll bring this up as numbers. You know, a lot of us will say like, oh, don't worry about the numbers, but I feel me personally, I think you have to worry about the numbers. Maybe not to like oh my god every day staring at it and trying to figure it out. It's more of like maybe once a week just reflecting, looking back, and just making sure, because you don't want to be down this path of like you don't know what you don't know, is that you don't know you're doing the wrong thing, or you're not innovative. Maybe you need to go a little bit off track. You need to switch lanes a little bit, and you start seeing a bit more growth. If you just stay in that one track consistently all the time, then you never look at your numbers, then you're not gonna know what you're doing wrong. I think, and I think this comes straight from like Mr. Beast. He's like, yeah, you need to be like, if you're not looking at your analytics, you're doing it wrong. You need to figure out what's going on, because the more you look at that and the more you understand it, the more you can understand your streams and your content creation in general. And the problem with that, though, is, as many of us have stated, I think, is that we just feel like, as I have felt like, if it can easily become an obsession.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a matter of staying away from that becoming an obsession. But it's so hard to grab that fine line in between. And I think this is why I keep bringing it back to like indie devs. Like, I think it's the same thing. It's just like looking at like indie devs looking at the wish lists and reviews. It's a very similar factor in that, is just figuring out, is not being too obsessive about it, because if you do, you're not paying attention to the important things, right? Would you all agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. But yeah,
Yeah.
I do have a propensity to get really into the numbers, but that's my whole life. My life is numbers. My career has always been analytics, and numbers tell a story. And I love it when people say, "Hey, don't pay attention to the numbers." I love it because they have my best interests in mind, the ones that I'm talking to. But you have to, because I'll tell you right now, if the numbers weren't important, then they wouldn't exist.
Exactly.
So, like, back to what I said earlier about how I think, like, if you got to a certain level, it would make things easier. Tying that back into indies, like, say, like, you're developing a game, and all of a sudden you get, like, 10,000 wish list. Like, that's a level to where you're going to be like, okay, hey, wait, this is actually going to go somewhere possibly. So it kind of changes your mindset on things, is kind of what I was trying to get at. To make you more,
Motivated?
less, yeah, like more motivated, less like nervous, like, okay, hey, we're not doing this for nothing. It's it's a purpose behind it now, you know.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like you can easily like it's like for me in the beginning when I first started out, like going back to the Minecraft, I would call the Minecraft boom, and it's like everyone's playing Minecraft, and it really things are blowing out of proportion, and it's that immediate satisfaction. You got it right away. You're like, wow, things are going great, and then it just stopped, and you're like, what the hell, But if it just, I think if you have which is not going to always be the case, it's if you had that consistency of like, if you always got 10 plus subscribers a week, then you're on a good path. You're like, all right, I don't have to worry about it. But it's not, it's not a crazy amount to make you almost feel a sense of like, oh, this isn't working anymore. Like I did in the beginning. Like I got so many subscribers so fast and then it just stopped. And I think same for most of us, like I said in the beginning, and then when it stopped, we all got burnt out and we're like, okay, this just isn't working. And like, what did I do wrong? And you stop. Like that motivation is not there anymore to keep you going. All right. I think at this point, guys, it'd be a good time to go ahead and do an ad break. And when we get back, we're going to get into a bit more about the stresses of being a content creator in general, as well as a indie gamer or indie developer. And we're going to get and throw some more questions over at Dimi right after this. Hey, Indie Hangout crew, loving the show? Help us spread the word by dropping a quick 5-star rating or review wherever you might be listening to this podcast. It takes just a second and helps more than you know. Thanks for being awesome. Now, back to the show. And we're back. Welcome everyone to another episode of Any Hangout with me, Pneumatics, Osak Kronos, Maztec Gaming, and Dimattic. All right, let's throw it right over to you, Kronos. You got a question for
Yeah, I was kind of curious, Demi. Like, have you ever hit like a wall with like just being burnt out from streaming, or like, if so, how did you like handle that, overcome it to keep going?
God, yes. I've been there on multiple occasions actually, and I probably at some points didn't always handle it the best that I could. Because at some point you're like, okay, I'm in a burnout right now, but I've got a good thing going, so I gotta keep on going, and you just like keep on streaming, because you know that you're getting the viewership, you know that something is going well, so you just keep on going. But in the end, if you do that, I mean, it's gonna start showing on you. You know, people will notice, people will see that you don't really have your full heart into it, and it's gonna negatively affect your stream. So you just really gotta stay honest with yourself and just be like, okay, I'm feeling kind of burned out right now. You should take a break. And as a streamer, it's really hard to do that. I still find that to this day, even now, I find it really hard to tell myself to take a break, because being a streamer, it's like it almost feels like an extra day job. Even though I already have like a full-time job, this is like my side gig, but you know, you just want to keep on pushing it. You know, you want to be there like every day. You want to stay relevant, and you always feel like if you're not there, you're gonna lose being relevant, and that's somewhere that you don't want to be. So it's really hard. It's really hard. But if you stay true to yourself, you should really just tell yourself to take a break every now and then. And it's really gonna help you out mentally, because if you don't do that, you're really gonna succumb to the pressure.
At this point, do you feel like when you are streaming, you get to that point, do you feel it coming on? Or you're like, okay, I can already see the patterns. I need to do something about this. Or do you have something in place to kind of protect yourself, like mentally, like you already know throughout your grinding sessions, like, no, I know I need to slow it down, or whatever the case may be.
I guess you kind of start feeling that you start getting frustrated easier over little things, and that you're starting to take some shit way too seriously than you should. And at that point, I'm usually like, okay, I gotta calm down now. Maybe I gotta like take a day, you know. And it usually does help. Not gonna lie. Like I took a week off right now, and I enjoyed it. I caught up on a lot of sleep, because the element of sleep is also a big one. If you don't sleep a lot, it's gonna affect you as well on your stream. That's a fact. But yeah, now like I took a week off, and I feel like fully energized again, and I'm ready to hit it, man. So, you know, take breaks. Definitely do. It's gonna help you out.
Nice. I like it, man. I think all of us have gone to that point, right, Maz?
And it, on top of that, with what Dimi's saying, it's like almost like another job.
Yeah.
It takes 28 days to form a habit. And I noticed that as well with when I was doing 3 shorts a day. I did 3 shorts a day on YouTube for literally like 7 months. And I wanted to stop doing it because I needed to spend more time with my family. And that's shorts is very time consuming. It's scary time consuming because they're so short. You think that you just slap them together, and some people can with AI, but I prefer to do it the right way. But I also noticed that the quality of my shorts was diminishing because it's like, yeah, let's get it done. I had the hardest time getting away from doing shorts, whether they were doing well, whether they weren't doing well, whether it was good content, whether it was poor content, it didn't matter. Just the fact that I had done it every day for 7 months made it the hardest thing for me to stop doing. And I think, Dimi hit the nail on the head. My biggest issue, and I've mentioned it a million times during our podcast, is that my internet is not good. And so one of the biggest focuses during my streams is watching the health of my internet. And that's very frustrating because there's times where it will just go to 0 kilobits per second. It'll just drop out on me. It'll try to reconnect. It'll take 20, 30 seconds to reconnect. And that pisses me off. I mean, it just gets worse and worse every time. Now, the thing is, we kind of, you guys joke, you guys laugh about it, but think about it this way. If that's happening every, 5 to 15 minutes and I'm streaming for 5 or 6 hours, think about how frustrating and naggy that becomes. It's like water torture, right?
Yeah, man.
And so that adds up. But then on those days where you're burnt out, that can happen once. And you're like, oh, F this. And it can completely throw your mood off.
Yeah, that's like that last drop that you need it,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But, it's like if it picks up, like you have a horrible stream with the internet health, and then the next time it starts off right off the bat, you're like, okay, I can't do this. And that can really set a mood. And I think if that, I will give myself a B with being able to hide that. I can do better when I'm on stream. I'm talking about hiding the frustration with it. I'm way better now than I was 2 months ago when I would just like completely tell it off and throw off, a million expletives. But when it's like right under your skin right off the bat, that's how I know that I'm starting to get burned out, and that's when I'll take a break. But you don't know that as well, Dimi. We were talking about that when we first started. You just grind, just do it. You don't know. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, I'm burned out and now I don't know what to do. But as you do it more and more, and what I would do is I'd get burned out and I'd ignore it. And I'd get burned out and I'd ignore it. And then I get angry.
Yeah, but I mean, you're so
agitated.
locked in,
Right. But then that's when I take off for 2 months. That's when I'm gone for a year. That's when stuff happens. And it's like, you know what? My 1 week felt so good. Let's do another week. And then what I say, 28 days to form a habit, right? So if you're off for a month, you're used to, your break became, I'm not streaming anymore. You're just used to it at that point, mentally and physically. And so there's a conditioning to this as well. And I think if you are taking good care of yourself, which is something that I'm really aiming to do, for the rest of 2025 especially, and then into the future, if you're keeping a good, have a good diet, you're taking good care of yourself physically, you're going to the gym, you're exercising, that can help you with that endurance. But listen to your body, listen to your mental health, because this can cause mental health issues. It can cause depression. It can cause anger issues. I'm speaking from experience. And if you don't listen to your body's and your mind's cues to take those breaks, that can really come and affect you in the long run. And that's why this is probably, honestly, over the last 8 years that I've been in any type of content creation, this is probably the longest stretch I've streamed without stopping, because I'm listening to the cues now. I'm experienced enough to say, okay, it's time to take a break, and it's okay because my community, the follow the streamer, not the gamers, those loyals, they'll be right there when I hit that stream button again. And we'll worry about the other ancillary stuff as we go. But couldn't agree with you more on that, Dimi. Take your breaks and pay attention.
Yeah, man. Have you felt that, Kronos? A lot of burnout? You've taken a few breaks too yourself, man?
Oh yeah, I took like 2 years off, honestly. But I mean, I've been kind of feeling it a little bit this year here in the later half, because I mean, it's not really I guess like how Maz, he said his internet and stuff gets to him at times. Like mine is, I'll sit here and I'll adjust settings, and like in my head, I'm like, I like stuff to look like I want it to, and I'll look at OBS and my webcam's nice and crystal clear. It's almost the video's coming through nice and clear. And then when I hit go live and I look at it on YouTube, it's all grainy. And it's just like, I have to ignore it so much. Cause like that actually bothers me. And like, there's been times where I'll sit here for like an hour on stream, not realizing it, trying to get it to clear up. And I've gotten burnt out. That's why I quit a while back, is because I couldn't ever get it to come through clear. And everybody was like, oh man, this is look horrible. I'm like, I know, like you ain't got to remind me. But you know, I tried, like as Matt said, I tried to ignore it and keep going. Like, you know, and just like in the back of my head, I kept on. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm getting tired of this. I'm getting tired of this. So I burnt myself out on it pretty much a lot. Still fighting those issues, but I'm trying to not be as obsessed with it this time.
Yeah. There was a study done back, and this is back 2021, Streamlabs reported, showed 41% of streamers experience burnout due to long hours and audience expectations, which it's crazy. I would actually think, for me, I'm like, man, that's actually low. I
I was about
feel
to
like
say
it would
the
be
same
more.
thing. I was like, only 41.
Yeah.
I'd
Like,
expect
wait a-
like at least double.
Yeah.
I want to
for
meet this
sure.
59%. I want to meet one of them.
Right.
Those are the ones that are streaming once a week. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Think about that. Think about
What
that.
is
These are the
burnout?
ones like, yeah, well, yeah. Think about that. How many people are on there daily, or and there's a lot of them, right? But think about how many millions of people stream on these platforms. How many of them are grinding like this? Not a lot
I
of
mean,
them. Some of them
there's
are
a
just like, I'm
whole
gonna play
lot
with
of
it.
people grinding to no end.
Oh, sure. But when you look at it on the larger scale, like everybody, how many of them are really grinding versus the ones that are casually streaming just for the sake of streaming? You know, oh, come on, once a month for, 90 minutes, a 45-minute stream every 3 months. I mean, there are people that do stuff like that.
Oh
They
yeah.
don't have the time, or they don't make the time, or they don't care. But yeah, I thought it was a little bit low as well, but I thought it would have been in the 60s, to be honest.
Do you think, well, take it this way. I mean, think between the four of us, how many other content creators we knew that we networked with that are no longer around?
So many.
100%.
So many.
And I think that's why that number for us seems almost unbelievable, that it should be more. And maybe, I don't know where exactly they got their numbers from, but I mean, how many people didn't go and vote on this that are the ones that burnt out completely? Like there's a difference between burning out and coming back eventually, and then burning out and never returning. I mean, there's so many of them out there,
Yeah. I think there's also like a big misconception of how or what streaming is.
Oh yeah, dude.
Because a lot of people think that streaming is like the easiest job in the world. Well, it really isn't. And there's so many newer streamers that are like up and coming, and they're like, okay, well, so many people start streaming nowadays, and they just try it for like a couple of weeks, and then they just stop because they see it's like not going anywhere. And I've met so many of those people. You just see them come and go,
They realize how hard it actually is. Like, oh yeah, wait, it isn't just hit stream and just everything works out.
Have the people come in like and drop money, here a sub, here donations. So easy.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It really isn't.
So, just some fun facts. I found a little survey and study that people had done.
Okay.
After just 1 month, 55.8% of streamers quit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no surprise there.
That doesn't
By
surprise
3
me.
months, 63% have quit. After 6 months, over 70% have quit. And at the 1 year mark, almost 80% of streamers have quit.
Damn,
I think
so
that's more
we
in
should
line
be
with what we
proud
were
of
looking at.
ourselves.
Yeah. Bravo. Good job, guys. Well, we made it back.
And it says after 2 years, about 90% normally quit.
Oh my gosh.
Not at all surprised. This is more in line with what we were talking about. I think this is
Yeah.
more in line with our expectations of these numbers.
Yeah, and I think I mean, for what Dimi was saying, the expectations of people getting into it are completely off.
Well, yeah, I'm going to hit the button and people are just going to roll in. Doesn't work that way. Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, if only.
And
Yeah,
I'll
go
be honest
live
with
and
you,
you get 10,000.
Right.
I'd be able to quit my job.
Right.
That's the ultimate dream, right? That's the end goal. But
See, I wonder how much of that plays into it also.
what do you mean?
Like a lot of us, I mean, while we're not, like you said earlier, you're not, this is the way it's going to happen. You're going to be a streamer, you're going to quit your regular job. You're hoping that happens, but you're not expecting it to, like.
Well, you shouldn't expect it to,
But
If-
I wonder how many people actually.
Oh yeah. People are thinking that they're going to be able to make this a livelihood like instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they jump into it and they try it and then it doesn't work. So then they're like, okay, I'm done. And they move back onto their normal life.
Guess I'll find a job.
Yeah,
Back to Burger King.
that's your difference right there. That's your possible versus probable, right? But is it possible that I can make this a career for the next 20 years? Sure. Is it probable? Probably not, because there's a lot of moving parts that you really don't have a lot of control over. And it goes beyond what you have direct control over. But my question is, and I'm going to ask this to you guys real quick because we're on the subject, but we're talking about, people quit because for whatever reason, it's not taking off. People aren't finding them or whatever. Do you guys remember how you got to where you are today? Because I honestly don't. And I mean it, I sincerely mean it as in know that I started at 0, but I don't remember when I got the momentum. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
How did I get that community? Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I low-key know when I started getting like the big momentum, but I haven't been able to sustain that.
Nice. I remember. So I always look back to when, like I said, I played Minecraft, and that's why I feel like it really took off. After that, my breaks were like every 6 months. I'm like, I'm gonna do this. No, I'm not. I'm gonna do this now. No, I'm not. So it's been very variable, up and down, all around. But I do remember, and now this may not really pertain to your question here, but I do remember my first 100 subscribers, and it was so stupid because it really was in the beginning where I had no idea what I was doing. I remember I was doing Minecraft mod episodes because I was like, oh, this is a good niche to get into. People don't really know about mods for Minecraft, and I'm gonna throw them out there for the good ones for people to know about. I think it was a bit ahead of its time because I think there were some people like 2 or 3 years after I stopped doing that people got into it, and then it started blowing up, or I was just doing it the wrong way, whatever the case may be. I remember being at my brother's house and had family around. My uncle's always been a very good supporter of mine. I was like sitting at 99 or 98. And he's like, oh, if everyone here jumps in, we could get him to 100. I was so excited about that moment, dude. It was like a wow moment, just hitting my first 100.
It is a big milestone, yeah. It is.
It's a huge milestone.
Hitting those triple digits,
Dude,
it's
huge.
It's huge. And back then, when we were hitting 100, then we got our vanity URL as well, if you remembered.
Yeah.
They didn't just give it away like they used to.
True.
Now you get I can do my /Maztech Gaming. I couldn't do that when I first started.
You
now
felt
it's like,
special.
Yeah, exactly. I did something,
Look, Mom, I made it.
Right. But the thing is, I made a video for it. Say, hey, thanks for 100 subscribers.
Yeah, true.
Thanks,
I
some
think
people.
I still have one of those on my channel.
I have one of them on my channel still, and I have a how to get to 100 subscribers video fast. It's like, oh, come on.
God, those videos are the worst.
Super cringe, super cringe. But then fast forward to 2025, and 92% of YouTube channels never hit 1,000 subscribers.
That's crazy when you think about it.
It's
Wow.
still a big deal. 100 is still a big deal, but we don't need to be making how to get 100 subscriber videos.
Oh man.
Yeah, most of all because we don't know what the fuck we're doing.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I'll be honest with y'all.
Yeah, you go, Kronos.
Oh, I was gonna say that first 100 for me, it was my channel started in early 2016, so it's almost 10 years old. I didn't know a damn thing about YouTube. I didn't know algorithm, what was going to work and what. So I joined some Facebook groups and everybody was like, hey man, subscribe to my channel and watch a video and I'll do the same to you. And I'm like, well, fuck yeah. But, I didn't know at the time. So I'm like, okay, hey, I'm going to do that. And like for a while, that's what I was doing. And I got to 100 pretty quick. And I'm like, all right, hey, this is working. And then next, it came out and everybody was like, oh, don't be doing that. That ruins your channel. And I'm like, whoa.
Well,
I've been doing it quite a bit, it's the damage is done now at this point.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
So I remember my first 100 because it technically wasn't a legit 100 now that you look back on it.
Never been a fan of the follow
then
for
they drop
follow.
a video and you're like, yeah, 1 view.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I didn't get it at the time. I'm like, what is going on?
They don't give a shit.
Yeah. And that's when I realized that.
I remember one of my videos, I was like, I'm watching, I see the numbers pop up and I'm like at like 5 views and I'm like, then like an hour later, it's like 15 views. I'm like, oh, am I blowing up? Am I blowing up?
And then like the next day, never mind.
And now it's still a week later, yep, still 15.
I come to think of it, 5 of those are mine.
Right?
No, but yeah, to come back on the concept of the videos of like how to get to 100 subscribers fast, that kind of stuff. I kind of hate those kinds of videos, just like general, like everybody makes them, and that they're just. I'm not gonna say they're full of shit because some of that stuff definitely does help, but what works for one person really doesn't work for another person, So you can have the best possible tips and you can try to apply them, but it's really no guarantees, no guarantee to success. It really isn't.
No guarantee for success, and your personality, who you are, how you engage or get people to engage, how people engage with your content, that's how you get there. And you can't bottle that up and sell it. But you don't, to what Pneumatics always says, you don't know what you don't know. And you got to 100, so let me go ahead and share my success. But you're right. I don't disagree at all. And I think it's I think that's more of an emotional, for somebody that's getting 100 subscribers, I think that's more of an emotional creation, kind of like a look what I did type video.
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, no matter like how many, as you're saying, like the videos you can watch. And I remember watching a bunch of videos on like how to get big on YouTube and how to do this and how to do that, right? Especially when I first started out, I wasn't even the same as many of you. Like I was like streaming. I don't know if I could be live in front of everyone and actually interact. Like, what? I screw up every time I try and record. How am I going to not screw up when I'm talking to people live, But I remember thinking about that, but looking at all these videos of people and they almost sometimes like they contradict one another sometimes. And like after watching so many of them, I'm like, okay, so it's just all luck. I don't know what to do. I mean, like, at least as long as I stay consistent. And then the other thing was like another person was like, oh, one of three things you need to be either entertaining, informative, or the best goddamn gamer that ever lived on that game. Those three things, you're golden. Other than that, it's all up in the air of if it's going to happen for you or not. So it was always almost worse by watching those videos. And it was good for the baseline things that everyone needs to follow. But other than that, it was like, okay, once you got the baseline, just ignore the rest and just try and do your own thing, Now that we got through that, I think it'll be good to ask you a couple questions here, Dimi. As we've been talking, it seems like the hustle never stops between us four. But in particular for you, how do you keep your Twitch content fresh after years of streaming?
Oh God, that's a really tough question to answer because I'm sometimes still trying to figure out the answer to that question myself because it's really hard. Like we discussed this already, where we are like constantly trying to compete with other people. So I guess what would be a great tip, one that I should probably also listen to myself sometimes because I don't always listen to my own advice, is just look at other streamers and look what works, because like the whole content space is like changing all the time. Get some ideas, grab some ideas from other people, look what works for them, and try to do your own spin with that. I think that's probably the best tip I can give if you want to keep your content fresh at this point.
Yeah, man, I like that. Always looking around, always innovating.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
How about you, Maz, after coming back from everything and keeping things fresh? How do you do it after years and years of us all going through the motions?
It's difficult. And to Dimi's point as well, it's one of those questions that the answer's never clear. It's a moving target, right? The goalposts are always moving. You also have to think about what your interests are. At the end of the day, these channels are about the individual, what they want to do, what content that they want to share. And it's easy to get sucked into, well, this is what my viewers want. And if I want to sustain the viewership and grow the viewership the way that it's being done, then I need to continue with this particular format. But that's when you can really get burned out. That's when you can get really harassed. Well, why aren't you playing this game? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? And we've all kind of faced that to a certain extent here and there throughout our streaming careers. I think it's important to keep it fresh by keeping what you want to do fresh. And that's what I'm doing right now I'm into the indie games at this point. So I want to show off indie games from developers that may not get wish listed, may not hit that algorithm. There's a thing on X right now. It's a pretty trendy thing going around from developers. They're posting a screenshot or a quick video of their game, and it just says over and over again, my game is good. The algorithm just ignores me, right? And
It's not me.
Right. And I think you always have to look within, You know, that's an ironic, tongue-in-cheek type trendy post that's going around X right now. I honestly don't believe that some of these, I'm sure developers do feel that way, but I'm sure that everybody that's posting it doesn't feel that way. But you always have to look within. And I think Dimi mentioned that with when we were talking about streamers that, you know, have been streaming for years on end and never seem to be able to stream for more than 2 or 3 consistent viewers. I mean, at that point, after a couple of years, I mean, I'm not bragging. I had my YouTube channel before I had my Twitch channel. I had 70 followers on Twitch before I even did a stream. So I was lucky with that. But if you aren't looking within, then you can't keep it fresh. Always watch back some of your content. I hate my voice. I hate watching myself, but I think it's a necessary evil to improving. What can I do? And Mr. Beast says this too. Reflect on one thing that you can do better each time. And I think that kind of goes hand in hand with keeping things fresh, because it'll help you evolve. And as you are streaming things and people are talking to you, I get a lot of suggestions from people. They're not like, hey, play this game. They're like, hey, check this game out based on the interests that you like. We have a whole channel on our Discord that is just indie games and indie games that are under $10. Just a whole list of all these different games. And then you get some ideas. You know, I've got the idea, like I got frustrated with the way one of my streams was going once. And then I got this idea to do an indie game showcase. And that's how I'm keeping it fresh right now. But I'm trying to evolve it. You know, I started out by, hey, this is what the game looks like. You may not have heard this before, blah, blah, blah. But then it's getting people's feedback and interactions with it. What do you guys think of this game? What did you like about it? What would you change about it? Is this something that you're going to put on your wish list? Those types of conversations just to keep everything fresh. I feel that engagement from your viewers can go a very, very long way with helping keep it fresh. Again, I honestly, if you ask me this question again in a week, it's probably going to be a different answer. It's that much of a moving target.
I like it, man, because yeah, I feel similarly with that. It's funny coming back, and I'm curious if you guys feel the same way. If you've been on a break for a while and you come back, it's almost a bit revitalizing to go through your content and clean things up and maybe change your banner and, you know, maybe your about section is like starting fresh, starting new, something, you know, exciting. And then all the different ideas you're going to be plugging in. And I think that's a good way, maybe not of taking, you know, like for me, it was 2-year break and then coming back and being like, where is everyone? But
What year is it?
yeah, what is going on? Wait, you don't stream like this anymore? But I think no, that's good. Is coming back. But even if you took like even a week off and you did that self-reflecting, and I think you stated that earlier, Maz, is that you know watching your own streams is so important because then you can kind of reflect on what you've been doing. Oh, I see I've been, you know, messing up with this, or maybe I can add in a little bit more of this, or I see a drop off during this, whatever the case may be. And you can kind of implement those new changes and maybe see a bit of an uptick, you know, in the following streams thereafter. But what about you, Kronos? I know because you came back after a long break as well. Did you feel that way too? And is there anything that you're planning on like as the rest of us, like popping things in to keep it fresh?
Yeah, I mean, I've done some things here and there, you know, like change up a little bit at a time. I try not to do drastic changes just because it's, you know, I don't want to lose what I know looks right on my channels and stuff. But yeah, I mean, after a big break, it was like, you know, kind of revitalizing to sit back down in front of a screen and play a little bit. And it's like, in a way, I came back and I just ignored everything. I just hit go live and I've played my games.
Here you go, Dimi. What's your advice for someone, a dev or a streamer, since they're very similar, as we found out throughout this conversation? What's your advice to them trying to make their passion a sustainable career? And do you feel like you're on that track as well?
Well, I don't feel like like I'm the right person to give the best advice on this, because obviously I haven't been able to make this my career. Also, probably not going to be able to do that in a very long time, if ever. But yeah, man, I mean, just go with what the current trends are, because the problem is that this whole thing that we're trying to achieve, it's an ever changing thing. You know, there's like always new things coming out. There's always the newest fad, and you just gotta keep up with the trends, because otherwise I mean, I've I've seen this so much. Like we were talking earlier about all the people that like keep on streaming for years on end and never changing anything. It has a lot to do with it. If you never get out of your comfort zone, if you never try new things, if you always do the same thing over and over again, you're not gonna get there. You know? Don't they say that trying to do the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, is close to insanity?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, that's what it is, man. It is what it is.
All right. I love it, guys. Fantastic conversation that we had tonight. It's been a lot of fun, but I think it's about time to wrap things up. And I would love to go ahead and end it on Dimi. Is there anything you want our listeners, or that you would love our listeners to have you come visit you on? Any plugs you want to put in?
Well, everybody's always more than welcome. So if you guys love gacha gaming content or just anything RPG, you guys are all more than welcome to come find me on Twitch. Just put in my name, Dimattic. You'll find me there, twitch.tv/Dimattic, or on YouTube. You can find me on Dimattic as well. So if you got interested, if you got intrigued by this whole conversation, yeah, definitely come on by and say hello.
Cool. I love it. And as always, everyone who is listening right now, we will have a lot of the plugs Dimi just mentioned in our about section, or not in the about section, or wherever in the description of this episode. And we'll go ahead and probably post them as well into the Indie Hangout Discord, which I forgot to mention. If you haven't, definitely join our Discord, everyone. We'd love to have you in there. You can catch all of the cool things we're talking about in there, and any of the polls that we'll have in there, the questions of the pod that we usually have. And you can sometimes catch a glimpse of upcoming guests that we're going to have on the episodes, just like this one. But I think that is it for this one. Thank you all for listening, and we will catch you every Thursday at 5 a.m. Central Time, 6 a.m. Eastern.
My man.
And until next time, we'll catch you then. Bye, guys.
That's a wrap.
See you later.
Bye-bye, guys.